When it comes to minimalism, it had a big impact in my life over the past 5+ years. From being more organized, to reducing stress and anxiety, to trying to convince my wife to join minimalism.
Hey babe, what do you think? Do you still need this sweater? Biggest impact of minimalism, besides dodging slippers, it's definitely my finances. To give you a brief overview of how I manage my finances as a minimalist, it's worth to take a look into the different accounts which I own. I have a salary account. Here my money just enters, says hi, and then it's on its way, used for transactions and other things. Personal savings account. Here I put some money at the end of the month, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, depending on what is left. Then I have a tax account. Here in Switzerland we pay yearly taxes, but I like to be prepared for the big yearly tax when it comes, so that I don't have a shock, which happens most of the time anyway, but that's something else. I just park some money every single month so that I'm a little bit prepared when this bill arrives. Then I have an emergency fund account where an emergency fund is parked. More on that later. It's also used for savings if I want to save up, for example, for vacations or big purchases. Then I also have an investment account. This is technically not a bank account, it's just my investment account where I park some money. I say park so many times. Where I invest some money every single month in the hope that in a few years I get more out of it. These are the accounts I have. Some maybe think it's excessive to have that many accounts. I just like to keep it structured, and I anyway don't pay for any of these, so I like it organized. Now the first important thing is an emergency fund. You've probably heard this from several videos. I'm just going to tell you how I do it. I basically save around 4 months of my expenses, park it in a separate bank account that I do not touch. This bank account is important for bills that are emergencies. The most important thing is, if you take money out of it, it has to be first of all an emergency. Second of all, you have to fill it up as soon as possible. Make this a priority. Then we have budgeting. Budgeting was super boring. At first, I never really wanted to get into it. But once I started it, there is no way around it anymore. I could not be without it. It saved me so much money. It shows me exactly what my income is, what I'm spending, and what is left at the end of the month without wildly guessing any numbers. Lately I came up with just 5 simple categories which I put in my budget, where I organize all my spending so that I know over the past months if my spending increased in certain categories and why. So the categories are subscriptions. As the name suggests, these are services and things I sign up to, basically subscriptions, reoccurring payments. I like to keep them in a separate category because I like to know what subscriptions are really still up there and running, and plus I don't want to go over a certain limit. Then the second one is groceries. I like to keep this as a separate category as well because I like to experiment with going shopping to different stores to see where we can actually save a little bit more money. Then we have transportation. This can be anything from filling up your gas or charging up your car to public transportation, new tires, basically everything you need for transportation. Then we have enjoyment. This is my fun fund, and basically everything that's not essential. Eating out, purchasing new tech, purchasing new clothes that are not necessarily needed, things like that. And yes, tech gadgets are my guilty pleasure, but it's getting better. The last one is fixed payments. These are, as the name suggests, fixed payments that stay the same every single month. That can be rent, health insurance, paying for electricity, water, things like that. Having my budget split into these 5 simple categories gives me a very good understanding if my spending is increasing and in which category. I don't need it much more detailed because the overall picture is much more important. If you want to go a little bit further, you can assign a specific amount you are allowed to spend within each category every single month. Personally, I have experimented with this, but I did not like it as I want to keep my spending as low as possible anyways. And when I can see that I have 100 left for enjoyment, I'm more likely to go eat out, purchase something, or just spend it on something I actually do not need. And investing. I'm a huge fan of investing because I think it's an easy way to build wealth if you are patient. But before you start investing, you have to understand a few things. First of all, understand what your goal is, understand how long can you park your money, what will you do if you do not reach your goal, and what will you do if tomorrow the market crashes? You have to answer these questions for yourself, and depending on that, choose your investment strategy. So I've structured out which amount I need to invest every single month to reach that goal. And I'm basically following this plan and checking off every single month if I'm on track with the return rate I'm supposed to get from my investments. Now this fixed amount goes to my investment account every single time I get my paycheck. That's basically the first thing I do once I get paid. Then we have credit cards. Credit cards are sometimes put as the big devil, but I don't see it like that. It's not the credit cards that are the problem, it's the people that are using it wrong. If you have your finances in order, you can use credit cards for your own benefit. For myself, I use my credit card to nearly pay for everything. Why am I doing that? Simple. My credit card offers me several benefits like insurance when it comes to traveling or when my delivery gets lost. I also have a best price guarantee. I have an additional warranty on top of it, cashback, and several other benefits. But it is important that at the end of the month you pay off your credit card so that you do not run into debt and you pay interest on your purchases. But since you know now how to budget, this should not be a big deal for you. So remember, managing finances in a minimalist way is not about depriving yourself, it's more about freeing yourself. And maybe you can also dodge a few slippers along the way. And what about convincing my wife to join minimalism? Well, let's just say we have fewer things to argue about, like that green sweater. Anyway, that's been it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Have a great one.